Good evening, guys, and welcome to the Pontificating with Pete version of Revolutionary Change on Saturday night. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a great weekend so far. Let's see, which one is better? I think we'll go with the white logo. And that'll change, of course, as the screen changes. But hope you're all having a great start to the weekend. As I had mentioned, we're going to have... we're gonna change things up. We're gonna figure out what is going to be the best method going about the weekend shows. As you know, the first Saturday of the month is going to involve Jen and I doing our monthly call-in show. So that's going to be consistent. So hopefully you guys will be here with us on the regular for that. We will explore the prospect of potentially doing a second call-in per month, but we'll start with this as we go forward. And so tonight, there is obviously a number of topics that we're going to want to cover. There's a lot of things going on right now. Normally we were so accustomed to just doing two shows a week, but now we're doing three. And I think it pays to do three because of how many different topics we have to cover on the regular. And so now by doing this Saturday show, we're able to cover a lot of those stories during the week that I think are of incredible importance, but also ones that I think we know that we need to be addressing right now. So hope you're all doing well. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you share the stream. And we're going to get this out there and share with as many people as possible some very unique stories that are going on right now, not the least of which is the fact that Israel is once again starting to try to do land sales for Gaza here in the United States, Beverly Hills being one of those places, not surprising. But certainly there will be other places that are going to prop up, so we have to be aware where and when they do and to call them out. In addition to that, there's also some interesting information regarding Kash Patel and the person that he's dating, which may be a HoneyPot situation, and why the Epstein file story is not going away anytime soon, no matter how hard Trump and his cohorts try to, brush it under the bus. But that is something that I don't think we can fully ignore. But one story that I mentioned on Thursday that I wanted to cover this evening, that we did not have the opportunity to cover on Thursday, but wanted to cover tonight because I didn't think it was necessarily a story, that, Jen was going to really want to dig into. But secondly, Jen is not really familiar with BreadTube. But then again, I can't really say that I'm too familiar with it either. Outside of the conversations we've had in the past with Vosh, that's pretty much been the extent of which the BreadTube conversations have taken place. We attempted to get June Lapine, also known as Shoe on Head, as a guest on the podcast. We were never able to work that out. We had been in communication, but we were never able to get it done. That would have been the one other person who I guess you would classify as in that realm, if you will. But the thing about the BreadTube world, which I always welcome feedback from people in the audience, my understanding is that BreadTube is, I guess it's a combination of political and social commentary married with game playing. I've never truly understood the whole gameplay obsession. I mean, I played video games when I was a teenager. I liked them. I'm sure if I got into them again, I would like them again. But there is an addictive component to playing video games. It's very real. And I can attest to this based on personal experience of what it was like going from my sophomore year of high school to my junior year of high school. Two completely different years. Sophomore year had video games involved, and junior year was when I stopped. And my grades went up substantially as a result. And so now I bring it back full circle. And thank you, Maureen. Thank you for telling me how to run my show. This all comes together for a specific reason. In the BreadTube world, there is a deep attachment to the content creators. Some of them have millions of subscribers. Many of them are daily users and people will follow their work on the regular. I'm familiar, obviously, with Hassan Anabi. I know a lot of people like him. Some of his stuff I like, some of it I don't. I think that's probably true of any content creator. There's going to be ones that you agree with, ones that you don't. But one person in particular who has had a substantial platform for a very long time has been Natalie Wynn, also known as ContraPoints. Now, I haven't really, again, I've seen maybe one or two videos over the past few years of Natalie's. I didn't really think anything of it. Very opinionated person, but obviously there is a major sticking point with her, not even agenda, but just the hype surrounding her and the fact that she is a trans woman, and that has created an even bigger stir regarding the statement that she put out the other day regarding Israel-Palestine, which should probably come as no surprise to anybody as to just how disturbing it was. I would prefer to live in a world where people should stick their foot in their mouths about what they really think than to keep their mouths shut. I know they say that it's better to be silent and be thought a fool than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. But when it's something like genocide, I think it's imperative that people know exactly where people stand. And especially ones with big platforms that claim to be on the so-called progressive side of politics, or just socially conscientious people in general that are aware of the issues that are going on now. What we have learned is that anybody at this point that is defending Israel is not only defending a death cult, but is defending an ideology that is seeped in sheer hatred, ignorance, and supremacy. And the people that will defend the Israel cause are not necessarily doing it because they fully agree with their ideology, but because they still believe that career-wise, it is to their benefit to do so. That there isn't really a career benefit to talk about Palestine, that it isn't going to help them in some economic way that can justify them taking a chance that they might actually hurt their brand as a result. But then I ask you, what is the whole point of this? Why do we do this? What is the point of having a platform if the purpose of doing it is just to make money and not to fight for a cause that matters so much to so many? So Natalie decided that she, I guess, was getting pushback from her people. She decided to release a statement. I'm going to read it. I'm sure many of you have, but it's still hard. It's not even hard to understand. It's completely understandable that Natalie would say this, because a lot of people will say this. Again, not necessarily because they fully embrace the ideology. They say it because it is to their economic, social, and political advantage to do so. At least in their mind, that's what they believe. From Natalie Wynn: so many leftists feel betrayed because I haven't made a video on Palestine. Well, let's see. It's been almost 2 years and you haven't made one? I'd say that's ignoring the issue. Do they actually want a ContraPoints video about Palestine? Will they be happy if I get in the bath and pour milk on a mannequin of Benjamin Netanyahu? No. You see, that's a form of deflection, and I think it's pathetic right off the bat. People don't care about the show. They don't care about the stunt. What they care about is the truth. And if you have a platform that, last I checked, ContraPoints has, I think, 2 or 3 million subscribers, there's probably a lot of people out there that would end up hearing that message as a result and could definitely make a difference. So why not use it? I have posted about Gaza occasionally, sure, and have quietly given money to Palestinian aid organizations. See, right there, you don't even need to mention that. You know, Jen and I do a lot of that stuff behind the scenes. We don't have to announce it. We just let people know that you want to contribute to our show. You know where it's going to go. Heal Palestine. But I think what leftists really want is for me to join their chorus of anger. Well, if you're not angry about this, then what the hell are you doing? They sense some hesitation on my part and are judging me harshly on my presumed opinions. I'd rather be judged on my actual opinions. So here they are. Is Israel committing a genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. One, doom. The week after October 7th, it was clear the mood among Israeli leaders and civilians was overwhelmingly kill or be killed, existential panic, and unstoppable lust for revenge. It reminded me of the U.S. after 9/11. I agree with that. There was no reasoning or protesting them out of it, nor was it politically feasible for the U.S. to withdraw aid to Israel on a time frame that would make a difference. We'll agree to disagree on that. It would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. Well, at some point that has to happen, does it not? Slow down, Colin. Even in the best case scenario, it would have taken years. So there's a sense of futility. No, there is no sense of futility because that change has to happen, and it has to happen now. It is starting to happen, I think. We'll see what happens, but a lot of that stems from Zoran's win in New York. Not that I think you're going to see the after effects all over the country, but what I think you will see is a handful of primaries that will take place in New York, with the two leading candidates being Hakeem Jeffries and Richie Torres, are likely going to be facing a primary challenge in 2026. But worse, misery. The leftist pro-Palestine movement quickly decided that their primary goal was not merely opposition to the genocide, but opposition to Zionism in general. That is, opposition to the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. And that right there is an example of liberal Zionism and a person who is intending to play both sides of the fence and say that we need a two-state solution and all the same bullshit that's been talked about for 75 years. Zionism is not Judaism, and I am sure that this person that is speaking on this issue is not Jewish and maybe not even a Zionist, but is being fed certain talking points to go along with. And here they decided to draw the line, separating decent people from genocidal fascists, which has the following consequences. It shrunk the coalition. Zionist is a very broad category. No, it isn't. Most Jews are Zionists. No, they're not. Anyone who supports a two-state solution is a Zionist. I'm starting to think that that's correct. Anyone who supports a two-state solution at this point has got to be a Zionist, if they knew anything about what's really going on. So as you can see, the conflation of Judaism and Zionism is alive and well in this neoliberal Zionist talking point. They're going to stick to it forever. And this is where the real willful ignorance comes into play. Because on the one hand, Natalie is trying to split the difference. Yes, it's a genocide. We have to stop it, but the Jews have the right to defend themselves, or Israel has the right to defend itself. Sound familiar? I just won't let everybody know that Israel has the right to defend itself, but what they're doing is wrong, and that's the way it is. You're either on one side or you're on the other side. You can't split this. There's no splitting the difference on genocide. There is no splitting the difference on the state of Israel. It's very clear cut. And at this point, you're nothing but a sheep herder. It is politically infeasible. So you say. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state? Pretty simple. we have to stop supporting Israel. That's the goal. End the relationship. End this unholy alliance with this genocidal state that we helped create. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society. Oh, that'd be terrible. Or else, nuclear war. Hey, that's what Netanyahu is trying to hold over everybody's heads. Do as we say, or nuclear war is what you will get. And that's an ally? As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. I don't think it's doomed at all. What do you guys think? I think ending the relationship with Israel is not only realistic, it's necessary. We seem to have support universally all across the political spectrum. It's going to take time. But rest assured, the opinions of our channel, for example, and those of you that are here with us this evening, in general, overwhelmingly, the answer is to sever ties with Israel. They want to fight this fight, they can fight it on their own. They'll last about 5 minutes. But, they can at least say that they tried. It introduced dangerous ambiguities. The vagueness of Zionism as a political Satan enables all kinds of rhetorical abuses. Again, Zionism is worse than Nazism, but you continue to conflate real meaning behind this death cult of an ideology. Not doing any favors. On the one hand, right-wing Israelis hold up all anti-Zionist protests as existentially threatening and inherently anti-Semitic. On the other hand, there is a long history of anti-Semites using the term Zionist in deliberately equivocal ways. Anti-Semites are happy for the opportunity to misappropriate the now popular anti-Zionist label to legitimize their agenda. That is true. But that's what Zionists want. They want anti-Semites raging and getting their fair share of the spotlight. So that way they can justify the conflation of Judaism and Zionism. That's how they are able to keep their death cult of an ideology going. So you're feeding right into the narrative by not explaining why anti-Semitism is growing. It's growing because of genocide. That's the reason. Anti-Semites are happy for this opportunity. And many people are not informed enough about anti-Semitism to recognize when this is happening. These problems are mutually reinforcing. Well, again, some true, some not. Is that a Colin? No. 3. Dread. The online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos and videos of dead Palestinian children. The main effect of this has been to create a population of people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. Well, here's what I would say to that, Natalie, if that is your name. As far as we know, as of this moment, as far as we know, there is a minimum of 377,000 Palestinians, half of which are children, that are missing, which means they're dead. 20% that we're aware of the Palestinian population in Gaza is dead. Mass murder. Genocide. So I don't really know what the point of your statement is. It's almost like you're proving our point, even though that's not your intention. At least in this statement, it's not. I fear this may be worse than useless. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are conceptually not the same. Correct. That is correct. Score 1 for Natalie. And conflating them is dangerous. Correct. But in practice, the way Israel is perceived does seep out into attitudes towards Jews in general. There is some truth to that too. Sure. I don't think Jews who feel isolated and weary in the current atmosphere are simply hysterical or hallucinating. Well, here's the problem. The ones who are screaming at the top of their lungs that they are scared and concerned are people of considerable privilege. These are not people that are living in a war zone. These are not people that need to be worried about bombs raining down over their heads. And these are people who defend Israel in lieu of a genocide. There's a reason people hate them. They live in a disconnected universe from the rest of us. And frankly, I don't think anybody would really care very much about this if we weren't attached at the hip to them financially, politically, and socially. I'm not, Zainab, I have an itch. But thank you for noticing. The point is, whether it's Sheryl Sandberg, whether it's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, whether it's Ayel Yacobi, whether it's Hillel Gould, who we'll talk about very soon, they're all the same. They are immensely privileged individuals who happen to be Jewish and use that as a weapon to prevent a true unmasking of the genocidal nature of the Zionist cause. And by doing so, they continue to allow this genocide to continue unimpeded. And that's also the reason why they don't want to talk directly about the Epstein files. There's one thing you guys should pay very close attention to when it comes to the Epstein files, because that story's not going away. Look at the Zion Nazis on social media and look how they discuss that topic. And I'm not just talking about Ben Shapiro. I'm talking about all of them. They do not want to address it. And you know why? Because the main crux of the Jeffrey Epstein story is that he is Israeli intelligence. And the clandestine blackmail operation that he organized was on behalf of the Mossad and the state of Israel. If it is proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Israel was about blackmailing the United States into supporting everything that psychopathic genocidal nation is all about, that would be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And that's why they can't release the lists. Not just because they're protecting a pedophile ring, among other things, but it's because of what it represents. The disintegration of the relationship between the United States and Israel will commence if that list of Jeffrey Epstein ever comes out. We all know some of the people that are on there, but it goes much deeper than that. Much, much deeper. It's global. And it's with people that are just as bad, if not worse, than Alan Dershowitz, who is on the list. But you get my point. Yes, there's communal trauma and hypervigilance. Yes, there's disingenuous right-wing ghouls dismissing and censoring all criticism of Israel on the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. But there's also a valid fear of historical anti-Semitic patterns reoccurring. And that fear gives power to the right-wing Zionist claim that only Israel can keep Jews safe. Does this mean Israel should not be criticized and sanctioned? Absolutely not. But it's something I don't want to risk contributing to, if not outweighed by tangible benefits. So I approach the issue cautiously. There is nothing cautious about this issue. This is very real. This is a genocide, and that's why this is happening. And to deny it in any context whatsoever is to aid and abet it further and allow it to continue. And that is exactly what you're doing with your stupid mea culpa, whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. You should have kept your mouth shut. You would have been better off. You're not helping. You're hurting it. You should have said Zionism and Judaism are not the same, and anti-Semitism is on the rise because we do not break away from our relationship with Israel. Anyone who supports Israel is not loyal to the United States. I mean, isn't that supposed to be what being a traitor is all about? You have people in this country who actually post the American flag with the Israeli flag. And what that really means is They support the United States on the condition that Israel is supported first. That's how it works. And that's why they donate so much money. Any of you know that the World Series of Poker main event is happening in Las Vegas right now? There are a handful of Israelis that have made it deep into that tournament. And I can assure you that if I was playing in that tournament, and I happen to like poker very much, I would be either wearing a keffiyeh or I would be wearing a Palestinian flag lapel. Or I would even go so far, I don't know if I would be as brazen as Jen, but I would wear something like Free Palestine. You want to walk into our country and you think that it's I wouldn't give a fuck about anything that they support. Nothing. If our government was not attached at the hip to theirs. You could say whatever you want. You could scream it from the top of the fucking mountains. I don't care. But you are determining our domestic and foreign policy, and that's going to end. And collectively, as Americans, we are going to work together to end it. This is the issue of our time. As our system breaks down and will eventually disintegrate if we don't change it in a substantial way soon, this is one of those ways that it has to happen. Is there anything more, Colin? Or is that the end of her speech? Oh, there's a little bit more. Bitterness. Much of the online left spent all of 2024 single-mindedly focused on Palestine. Yeah, that's what they should have been focused on. And complicity of Democratic politicians in sending aid to Israel. This campaign had the following effects. 0 Palestinian lives were saved. Correct. Not one fewer bomb or bullet was fired by the IDF. It may have slightly contributed to the re-election of Trump, guaranteeing that the U.S. will put no diplomatic pressure on Netanyahu for at least 4 years and making protests. Okay. There was 0 diplomatic pressure on Netanyahu. There has been 0 diplomatic pressure on Netanyahu ever since, and this is, I've always said, the only time I came to Obama's defense was when he disinvited Netanyahu from speaking in the congressional chambers, and then the Senate Republicans invited him anyway. And they disrespected the presidency. They did. And everyone should have been upset about that. But ever since that moment, I mean, it's red carpet all the way for Bibi. And it has been for a long time. But Obama was always great to him. Just that one instant. He ever so slightly tried to push back, and we saw what happened. We saw what happened when Obama tried to get Wasserman Schultz out as the DNC chair back in 2012. The Israel lobby's strength is very strong, but it's breaking. And it is our job to break it. That's our job. It may have slightly contributed to Trump's reelection, guaranteed the U.S. will not have anything going for 4 years, and making protests against Israel both much riskier and less effective. Now, I don't agree with that. It's actually very effective. Trump is also incidentally a menace to me and basically everyone I care about. A perfectly enlightened being would feel no bitterness about this, but I do. None of this is the fault of Palestinians, of course, who are overwhelmingly the victims here. I hope that someday American policy will shift in their favor, and I will continue to support that cause. I see the situation as bleak, intractable, extremely divisive, and devoid of any element that could be appropriately transformed into political entertainment. So you see, what Natalie's saying is this. This is a difficult subject that if I decide to go fully in on the right side of, it's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me sponsors. It's going to cost me all that support that I've built up over the years on the backs of people that I should have been protecting because I'm a trans woman and I'm persecuted people here. But much like Brianna Wu, much like who's that other fuckhead that I couldn't stand? The one that came after Jen, tried to get her doxxed and shit. Oh God, you guys gonna have to give me the name of that. I'm not talking about the Bud Light girl. I'm talking about the one was like high up in the Democratic Party. somebody will remember the name. I'll get to it eventually. But my point is, and especially in Democratic Party elite circles, you are never given an opportunity to have a platform and espouse a message about your so-called cause, whether it's transgenderism or anything of the like, unless you're walking the corporate line. If you in any way get out of that, you're fucked. And everything that you supposedly gets broken down, you will never, ever recover it. And for them, that's all that matters. How many trans activists can you think of that have a real platform like Natalie Wynn that ever talks about the absolute necessity for single-payer healthcare? If I'm wrong, show me. But I don't think I am. Not about this. Hopefully it goes without saying that these are just my thoughts. I'm sure other, and she puts bread tubers in quotes, have different opinions. Yes, they certainly do. Vosh has been supporting the Palestinians since day one, and he didn't have to think twice about it. Kudos to him. Maybe you guys don't like Vosh's opinions about Ukraine. I don't, but he's damn right about Palestine. Anything else, Colin, or is that the end? I think that's
all of it, yeah.
Well, showed true colors, shows that it isn't about the cause, it's about the career, and as it is for so many. But all it does is further expose the hypocrisy, because that's what is our job. Our job is to expose the hypocrisy of the likes of Natalie Wynn and anybody else who built their platform supposedly as honest actors, and what they're showing you right now is that that's not who they are. They're not honest at all. In fact, they tried to, once again, we talked about this, split the difference. We are going to acknowledge, on the one hand, that we are dealing with a genocide, but on the other hand, we're also going to say Israel has the right to defend itself and they have the right to exist. Then don't say that it's a genocide and that it has to end, because the only way it ends is with the end of the state of Israel. That's it. It's pretty simple. I am not advocating for violence, but I certainly understand it. And I would hope everybody else understands it as well. That's what's going to happen. Thank you, Ashken. I do work on my Bernie, and I believe that that Zohar Mamdani is doing a good job in New York, and he'll probably be a leader that I wish I could have been. Well, Ray, if you've got something about Debbie, you can certainly send it over. This pathetic, again, she has nothing to go on. Nothing. So when something is in her lap, she's going to allow this cringeworthy type of situation for her to latch onto. And yet, Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been funded by the private prison industry for many years. Speaking of hypocrisy, and I really wanted to get to this one, because I know you guys have probably heard of Jennifer Welch. I wasn't really aware of her. I mean, I had heard of her. I know that she and a friend of hers run a pretty successful podcast, but evidently her network was built through a Bravo TV, or like a home rehab type show. Or I think it might have been home design. I don't want to say rehab and home design and conflate the two things together, the two different things. But I do believe that that was a huge part of it. Yeah, Welch's grapefruit juice. I remember, or grape juice. Welch's grape juice. That's right. I remember that well. I want people to Still getting over the cold. I'm almost there. Finally got to work out today. Feel a lot better. Yes, I did see that. What's this nonsense about Richie Torres? That's not surprising. What should not come as a surprise to anybody is that a lot of people, including Jennifer Welch and the network that she runs in, were using what they were using as a means for political gamesmanship. There are people that want to claim that now all of a sudden you have bigger accounts that are coming around. You've seen some of the commentary that we saw from Piers Morgan, which on the one hand seems reasonable. On the other hand, he's full of shit. Then you got somebody like Tucker Carlson, who seems to be a little bit more genuine in his opinion, especially regarding what's going on in Gaza, which is obviously great. But at the same time, we cannot lose sight of why these things are bad when it comes to certain accounts and certain people with certain platforms speaking up the way that they do. Because what they're going to do is try to claim that they were on the right side of history when they never were. The only reason why somebody like Jennifer Welch is going to make the right statements now, Colin, check your phone, is because it's killing the Democratic Party brand. And they know it. So here's a little doozy of a clip from CNN.
Delicious and interesting, but you have a Russian propagandist with a man, Ted Cruz, that is a rapture prepper.
Okay, so right off the bat, I don't even want to wait. I want to get right to the crux of the problem here with the likes of Jennifer Welch and what she represents. She represents the dumb, wealthy, liberal elite faction of the Democratic Party, of which it's very large. Don't kid yourself. It's a substantial amount of people. What this blonde moron doesn't want to acknowledge, see, I go very hard on women like this because they think they're smart. They think they're smarter than everybody else. And so when they come right out and they say that Ted Cruz is a Russian asset, this and that, do you realize that Ted Cruz is one of the leaders in all of Congress at sanctioning Russia? That this guy goes out of his way. This guy was just on Tucker Carlson and he called him out for it. He's like, there has never been a situation in which you haven't put the boot of the United States on the neck of Russia. And this person's out there saying that he's a Russian asset. If you're going to pretend like you know anything, at least have the humility to go on a channel and know what the fuck you're talking about, of which you don't know shit. So right there, forget that the whole Russiagate shit is all bullshit. For the most part, is all bullshit. But the fact that that's what this person leads with is incredible. And they're still doing it. How many years later? A decade later? And they're still doing it. And this is a person who has a large platform. I mean, a large platform. And you'll see in a few minutes what I mean by that.
And what's lost in all of this is the American public. How does this serve the United States of America? Everybody in Israel has health care. Nobody goes bankrupt because they have cancer. But in the United States, we don't, yet we send them aid. And so what's lost in this entire message is all of this propaganda just gets pushed into the news cycle, is how does this benefit a country that is breaking every single day?
Okay, so kudos to mention the fact that we pay for Israel to have universal health care and education, and we also can basically cover their military. So we do all these things. We do all these things for them. Are you going to push your Democratic Party comrades to fight for these issues now? Are you going to use that sizable national platform that you've cultivated with a whole bunch of wine moms coast to coast and tell them that they need to go to their local DECs and start pushing for single-payer health care at the local level on up? She going to do that? She's not going to do anything. She doesn't want to lose her spot on CNN. She doesn't want to lose the invitations to the White House. She doesn't want to lose the invitations to the conventions and to the private parties and anything that helps her brand, of which is very big. This woman made her money through Bravo TV, through trash TV, if we're going to be honest. Not to say that I don't think there aren't things on Bravo. I mean, again, I wouldn't know. The only thing I know about Bravo and why it's shit TV is because it brought us the Real Housewives. And all those stupid, pathetic, reality-based TV shows that have completely sunk our culture. And the whole concept of living vicariously through other people and their lives and how great they are. The best type of reality shows are the ones that teach you how to improve your life. If you're going to watch something about home improvement, learn exactly how to, let's say, use a hammer and nail, how to change a tire, learn how to cook, horticulture. There's plenty of things you could do. But no, this is a person who comes on TV and isn't talking about the Palestinian people. She's talking about it's untenable that we continue to perpetuate support for Israel because it's not good for the Democratic Party. That's what she really wants to say. She doesn't say they're committing a genocide and we have to stop it. Didn't hear that word come out of her mouth. No, she wants to talk about, oh, we're doing this for Israel, but we're not doing it here at home. You're saying that when the Democrats are out of power. But if the Democrats were in power, would you be saying anything? Well, here's a little snippet of the type of people that Jennifer Welch and her partner like to, peruse around with at special events like the Democratic National Convention. Oh, isn't that sweet? DNC convention in Chicago from a year ago. What a trip that was. Just hanging out with Trump's old lawyer who decided that, hey, I got to get paid. So I'm going to go onto the Democratic side and act like I'm friends with them now. And everybody's all dressed in white and happy and flashing their fancy clothes. You know how much money it costs to get in there? The one and only good thing that Chris Cuomo ever did, who did it as a jilted lover, mind you, pointed out the fact that people like Jennifer Welch, she's sitting up in the area where they're spending $250,000 to have a booth, $500,000. That's who's there. And that's who she represents. This woman lives a very comfortable life, very comfortable. And she only wants to get the part right that she perceives is going to help the Democratic Party. This had nothing to do with what do we have to do to actually help the Palestinian people. Not Israel is a genocidal state and we have to stop supporting them. It's Israel's not good for us politically anymore. So we have to change. If that's not ultra-liberal elitism, I don't know what the fuck is. Next slide, please. Colin? No. Next slide. Just one over. There you go. Oh, just hanging out with Senator Warren. Probably a good friend. Cheesing that up pretty hard. All righty. Next one. Now, I don't know who this guy is, and I don't care. But you can tell that this is all about the pomp and circumstance. So very excited. We're so Team Blue. We're so very happy. Next one. Oh, yeah, of course. We'll see how much longer they support Stacey Abrams. She's not good for politics anymore. By the way, take a look into Stacey Abrams and see how much misappropriation of funds she's been involved with. Really not good. But hey, if Team Blue does it, it's got to be okay. Can't be that bad. Chuck L, I would put that up there. That's very funny, but I'm not going to do that. But good comment, though. I'll give you that one. Next one, please. And here is the one that I really wanted you guys to see all along. I am never going to stop repeating this fact. Dan Goldman is one of the biggest scumbags in all of politics. This guy, who of course is wearing the yellow ribbon lapel on his jacket, is the heir to the Levi Strauss jeans fortune. He is the guy that spent $4 million of his own money to get elected into Congress, even though Yulin New is the person who should be representing District 10 in New York as we speak. But if it wasn't for good old Mondaire Jones jumping into the race and making sure that the vote was split even further, that this guy would somehow end up there. And you don't have anybody, and I mean anybody, outside of Wasserman Schultz and maybe a few others like Adam Schiff. But even still, if you really think about it, Goldman is as bad as anybody in the Democratic Party who was front and center in support of Israel. And these ladies couldn't look happier standing next to this man with just a few weeks to go before the election. Thrilled. I mean, at this point, the genocide was going on for almost a year. I guess at that point, it wasn't such a political inconvenience to talk about, right? I mean, Biden was still the president. Kamala Harris was now the nominee. They were going for broke, right? Didn't really matter so much. But now it's not working anymore. And so now they want to talk about it. Next slide, please. Just so happy. I bring this up for a reason, and I believe that that's it. Yeah, and just talking with Warren, and is that it? Oh, and that's Tammy James, who made it her political mission in life to make sure that she prosecuted Trump. And of course, she's involved with her own scandals. It's, as I've always said, Trump was going to expose the system because he was going to do all the things that everybody else was getting away with. Only the spotlight shines brightly on his ass, so it's going to get noticed, but they're all doing it. They all have their skeletons. It's a very broken system. It's a very broken party. And the reason I bring up Jennifer Welch is because if you're going to go on TV and you're going to talk about Israel, you're going to talk about it in the context of political triangulation. We have to get away from Israel because the Democratic Party can't win if it doesn't. Not, let's stop this right now because the Democratic Party is aiding and abetting a genocide just like the Republicans are. That conversation never comes up. That conversation never makes it to the surface. And yes, Jennifer Welch speaks for a lot of women that vote for the Democratic Party. And it's unfortunate. But as it stands today, this is where the party is. And maybe those changes that we seek are going to take a lot longer than we would want. But make no mistake, if they think they're going to get away with it, we can't let them. We cannot let people like her speak for this movement. You want to speak for the Democratic Party? That's not surprising. But they are going to pretend like they were not part of the problem, that they did not aid and abet this genocide from morning, noon, and night until the next day. They always did it. They always will. There isn't any excuse. There isn't any rational explanation as to why they did this, other than opportunism and career goals. And that's it. Smash that like button. Make sure that you subscribe, especially if you're new here. And also, make sure that you share the stream. We obviously would like to get this out to as many people as possible. We've been creeping up around 260, 270 live viewers tonight. That's a really good number. And we certainly would like to get to 300 if at all possible. So make sure to keep on sharing if you can. And remember, guys, we are a small but mighty and growing channel. Make sure you go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you could become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We passed 46,000 subscribers. I think we're at almost 46,200 now. We're moving and grooving. We're trying to get to 50,000. So any and all help that you can provide is obviously going to be tremendously appreciated. And if anybody is so inclined, we also appreciate any and all super chats. That does make a big difference for us. Big shout out to Aisha Jeffries Cece. I think I said it right. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate you being here. A big shout out to Sailor Jerry Swallow. Thank you so much for the 2 Canadian A. Your support is tremendously appreciated as always. And of course, Arthur Handy. Thank you so much for the $5. Jennifer Welch had a podcast with close to 1 million subscribers. Hey, when you've got a national TV platform that gets good ratings and has been on TV for a number of years, it's not hard to build up a big social media platform, especially if you have a good team around you. And I've seen she's got a big professional get up and all that jazz. So not really surprising from where I stand. I could certainly understand why her show is popular. I mean, I'm in commercial real estate, so I certainly appreciate anybody who is capable of doing the type of design work that she has been accustomed to. It's not easy to do, and she has her shtick. My personal opinion, I've seen her work. I don't like it. It's not for me, but it's clearly for somebody else. You know, the one thing I've learned is that, especially when it comes to design, they say that one person's treasure is another person, or one person's trash is another person's treasure. That is true in many ways, and especially when it comes to art design, because I've seen her art design and I don't like it, but clearly there are people that do. Otherwise, she wouldn't have as big a platform as she does. So call it what it is. People like what she has to offer. That's fine. To each their own. That's what I say. JG1982, thank you so much for gifting 5 generational change memberships. Guys, any and all help really does make a difference. No two ways about it. IHLS, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate it. And like I said, you know, any and all members makes a huge, huge difference in our ability to grow. And the great thing about once you cross over a certain threshold is that certain clips will drop and they'll catch the algorithm, and then the numbers will start running, and then the channel grows and grows and grows. That's the beauty of just having a consistent network of people that are here to support our channel. It really does make a difference. And so, again, I can't thank you all enough for all of the support. Of course, to our trusted mod, Brett Boyle, who does an amazing job behind the scenes. You guys are all great. We are extremely thankful and grateful that you are all here, and especially tonight. And one more time, JG1982 with the $2. My mom loves them, got me into it, got me on it. Welch and Pumps. Yes, that is the name of their channel, of Welch's channel. And again, like I said, maybe she does really great work when it comes to her cause. I'm not going to take that away from her. But what I will say is that when it comes to political commentary, she's a Democratic elitist party shill if there ever was one. And that I have no patience for. And neither should anybody else. And no one should excuse it, even if they like her other work. And that's fine. But always keep it 100. That's the key. The key is to be honest about it. On the one hand, you can be really great. A best example I could give you guys, the best example is Bruce Springsteen. Bruce, thank you so much, Gene. Bruce is my favorite musician. He has been for the majority of my life, since I was a teenager, since I really got into Bruce. I'm from the same area as him in New Jersey. I have spoken to him once before in my life. It was an amazing conversation. I love him as an artist, and he means a lot to me. But politically speaking, especially today, he's way off. He's fallen into that category. And that hurts. But I'm not afraid to say it. There are people that have their heroes, the ones that they admire, and they cannot separate the two. They can't separate being a fan. David, I'm going to assume that that's a joke. And if it isn't, we'll agree to disagree. But Bruce, for me, and that's okay, Tony. And Bruce isn't for everybody. But an amazing performer, amazing songwriter. And unfortunately, his friendship with former President Obama was very important to him. And I think that in many ways kind of blinded his judgment politically. I'm going to do a very important story now for you guys. And this one's going to make you unhappy. When I say that we have to sever our relationship with Israel, that it must end, I say it because if it doesn't, we are aiding and abetting a genocide in more ways than one that you could possibly imagine. I'm going to introduce you to somebody that you don't know. You've never heard of him. You don't even know he exists. But I know he exists because he's in my line of work. You see, the Zionists are all over the real estate world. And it has been revealed that in Beverly Hills, they are now bringing back land sales in Gaza. So they are not stopping with this shit. They are continuing this descent straight into hell. And all the while, they are taking people's lands away. And they're putting them up for auction. Colin, I know I sent you the message about the auctions in Beverly Hills, I believe. I want to start with that one first. I want people to at least know what this is about. And then we'll go to Ben, so that people get to see who the person is. You could show exactly what it was that he was doing, which is pretty shady shit. Can you grab that, please? That's not the one. One sec. No, it's not the Hillel tweet. That's not it. It's the one. If you need me to grab you one, I'll grab it now. It's Beverly Hills, Gaza land. Yep, it's all right. So credit to I'm going to send you this, and you'll see how you can pull it up. Credit to Jessica Burbank. She does. You guys probably remember Jessica Burbank. She was on Rising on the Hill. Also does work with More Perfect Union. Some pretty sharp work there. So it turns out that Israeli land sales are back on in Beverly Hills. I have obtained a leaked email with the event details. Capital Real Estate Agency has some details on the link below. The webpage says, maximizing your savings, lowering purchase tax in Israel. Amazing. Now, I don't know if you can blow that up, Colin, the message itself. So, this is dated for tomorrow. If any of you are on the West Coast, anywhere near Los Angeles, and you can get to the Beverly Hills Marriott, hey, it's free country. At 10:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at the Beverly Hills Hilton, Ben Levine, Director of Sales at Capital Real Estate Agency, will be hosting a land auction for Gaza. There's his WhatsApp number in case you want to give him a ring. Not country code 972, number 53-822-4336. Ben Levine has some land he'd like to sell you. Let's show everybody who Ben Levine is. Blow up his face. Oh, they won't let. There you go. And isn't that a nice little Jewish boy right there? Ben Levine, your trusted Jerusalem real estate agent. Let's look at his bio. Trusted Jerusalem real estate expert, CEO, and co-founder at Capital Real Estate Agency. Specialize in helping Anglos. Boy, they really don't hide it. Purchase Israel real estate. He's letting you know he only wants whiteys buying that land. Okay. Hey, I appreciate the transparency. I would imagine that probably anybody else. I would imagine that that is your real estate agent, Debbie. It's probably your good friend, too. Maybe you have him over for Passover or, I don't know, one of the other holidays. Scroll down. So here's the real beauty of it, guys, because I thought that they were all native to the land after immigrating to Jerusalem in 2009. So he's only been living there since 2009. And yet, this is a guy who apparently was born in the UK, immigrated to Israel, and now is doing land deals there for people in the United States. Because of course he is. I saw that Israel's real estate sales market was quite underdeveloped. Therefore, in 2010, I went about obtaining a sales position to start and learn and understand the market. Within 5 years in 2 different positions, I became an expert in that field. And you know what made him an expert? He found out that the land underneath Gaza soil is worth $500 billion in natural gas. And once that natural gas is extracted, after you completely decimated and genocided the people living there, that's a really great, incredible opportunity for really great real estate. And this Ben Levine, he's a great guy. He totally knows what he's doing. I think we're going to do business together. Really great business, incredible business, smart guy, tremendous guy, really great guy. In 2017, I co-founded Capital, an agency successfully serving locals and foreigners find the place that they call home. With a growing staff, including 6 brokers, that's a lot of brokers, we aim to keep expanding and serving the community that we hold so dear to our hearts, with a specific emphasis on helping English speakers navigate the property market. We are here to welcome potential buyers with open arms. I lead a team that specializes in secondhand sales, new build construction, wink, wink, and a long-term sales specialist. With nearly 15 years of experience in real estate sales and a regular speaker at worldwide community events, I always try to lead by example. During these 5 years alone, I've seen constant exponential growth in my sales, and I will always strive for this to continue. In my opinion, prices being high or low, a strong market or a weak one, do not dictate a real estate agent's opportunity for success. Why should it? You get billions of dollars from our country to make up for the shortfalls. The market creates opportunities for how to succeed in real estate sales. I myself am a resident of Jerusalem and feel passionate about improving my community in any way that I can. I know that the skills my team and I bring to capital, we can help people become happy and successful homeowners in Jerusalem. All right, enough of the slobber. Let's get to the real thing. Let's get to that post. This is going to make you sick. So brace yourself. Colin, that story, please. No. The one with Levine. His post. Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is what.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I went over my head. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to explain this to you guys. I mean, like I said, give them credit for being this transparent about their complete insanity. But this is a post from 3 days ago of him meeting with land buyers all over the country for land opportunities in Gaza. Grateful to have connected with so many amazing people these past couple of days in Century City and Hancock Park. These events weren't just about real estate. They were about community, vision, and building a future in Israel. Tell me another country that does this. Tell me another country of people that are living elsewhere. They're coming here to sell real estate to you to come live there. Maybe the Maldives. We're continuing the momentum with more events across LA this week and Sunday, then heading to Chicago and the Five Towns. If you guys don't know about Five Towns, it's a very wealthy suburb in Long Island. Thinking about buying in Israel? Don't miss your chance to connect with us in person. Special thank you to Yitzhak Thaler, Isra Transfer, and Chaim Friedman for providing your expertise in every step of the real estate buying process, and to Maxine Marks for your expertise in the Netanyahu market. Sign up for one of our remaining events here. Can't make it? WhatsApp and connect. Hey, listen, like I said, you guys have an opportunity. Shoot them a message. So here's the big kicker. This is the event that just took place. Why do people feel the need to blur their faces out? Could it be that they don't want people to know that they're participating in genocide? Because that's what they're doing. They are knowingly buying land that is steeped in Palestinian blood. And they know it. They're not stupid. They know exactly what's going on. They're so proud of what they do that they have to hide their fucking faces. They don't hide their yarmulkes, but they hide their faces. Colin, are you able to zoom in on any of the pictures? See, this is the back of their heads, but if you go to the next page, see, that's the guy. That's the guy that's standing right now. Scroll up for a second. Scroll up for a sec. That's him. This guy right here with the pink shirt on. So that's Ben Levine. Yeah, he looks like you would expect him to look. About 5'6", pudgy, talks with his hands. Got to make that money, baby. But like I said, I find it so, I would say, well, cathartic's not the right word, but relieved. I am relieved that they are so transparent in their bigotry. He specifically says, I'm looking for white people only to come and buy my land. I mean, that's pretty funny. I just got to be honest. I'd rather live in a world where people just tell the truth. Just be honest. Okay. Let's go to that other picture with the people, and you can't see their face. You can kind of right there in the right corner. Look at them. Look at these people. They are so happy to be there, to buy that land. They don't want you to see their face. Wouldn't you be proud of being able to scoop such an incredible investment opportunity? I would imagine you would want everyone to know who you are. But no, not at all. This is beyond shame. This is the desecration of innocent lives in real time. Just think. They're going to buy land to build homes on top of a killing field. That's what they're doing. They're buying land that was a killing field. And they're happy to do it. Because to them, they are superior. Ethnically, economically, socially, and politically. And this is just a small batch. But you notice something unique about these guys, ladies and gentlemen? There's nothing special about them. Yeah, they're probably all very well off, if not outright wealthy. But look at them. They're schlubby, everyday people. You pass them on the street, you wouldn't know who the hell they were, but they're amongst all of us. They're just regular people with black hearts and black souls. And they don't care. It's good for business. This is what the face of pure, unadulterated, racial, ethnic, spiritual hatred looks like in its purest form. And they're your aunts, your uncles, your friends, your cousins, your parents, your siblings. They're everyday people, and they are pretty evil people. I cannot emphasize enough how volatile it is that we break away from the Israel lobby and all the control it has over our country. We can't stop people like this. The world is not perfect. This banality of evil is real, and it will not die. Just like Epstein's pedophile ring is one of many. Just like when some egregious situation like Bernie Madoff happens, he just got caught. There are so many more of him. So like I said, we can't end this depravity. We can't end it. But what we can do is we can make it very difficult for them to operate. That we can do. And that starts with severing that relationship. If we can disintegrate the relationship between the United States and Israel, that's going to be the change. And I cannot emphasize enough, once again, the incredible importance of Zoran Mamdani winning that mayoral election in New York City. Because it's a sign that the change can happen. If it can happen in New York City, it can happen anywhere. We have to stick together. We have to keep fighting the good fight. We have to keep pissing off Zion Nazis like that scumbag. They're on borrowed time. So let's speed it up. That's our job. Bless the people in Gaza that are still suffering to this day. Pains me to say it, pains me to watch it, but as Jen likes to say, we all have to bear witness to this, because if we don't, it'll be much as General Eisenhower said when he liberated Dachau after World War II. Take as many pictures as you can, video, footage of everything that's going on here. Why? Because one day some lunatic is going to stand up in a crowded room and say, this never happened. And of course, there's always exaggerations about what really went down, same now as it would be any other time. As I said, what only matters to me now regarding what's going on over in Gaza is the fact that the Harvard study revealed that 377,000 Palestinians are missing, aka they're all dead. 20% of Gaza's population has been mass murdered. It is genocide, pure and simple. And those people are looking to profit off of it. I'm sure there are plenty of others that would too if given the opportunity. So like I said, our job is to sever that relationship from ear to ear. That's our job. And I'll show you one of the ways that that's happening. Now, I don't know who this dickwad is that's Hillel fooled, just another loudmouth shitbag that's over in Israel that doesn't like being called out. So here's what the moron had to say. So get this, a nice Jewish woman named Shana Shabbat. I question whether that's really her name, honestly. It just sounds like a joke. Sounds like it's a setup for a joke. She asked for more information about their tours for filling out a form of Paradise Tours website. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know what Paradise Tours is. You can fill me in. I'm always curious to learn about these types of, whether it's an amusement park or baking a cake, all those wonderful things that we see all the time where people have an opinion about whether they should be supported or not. You get the idea. She asked for more information. They replied to her email with the subject, "No thanks." And the body of the email included 2 words, "Free Palestine." When they were contacted to inquire about their anti-Semitic response, again, does anybody actually take the words "Free Palestine" as anti-Semitic at this point? I mean, listen, I don't know if anybody ever really did. I know that they worked really, really hard to convince people that saying "from the river to the sea" was anti-Semitic. But is there really anybody out there that buys into this bullshit? That if you somehow say "Free Palestine," that now all of a sudden that's anti-Semitic? I don't know about you, but I'm not buying it. I think it's a load of bullshit. Don't we all feel that way? I hope so. No, I do. A man named John from their team replied, "Yes, not interested to host so-called Israelis. Is there a problem with that?" Hey, I like the cut of his jib. I agree. I wouldn't serve Israelis. Not for anything. I'd kick them the fuck out. They're not welcome here. They should never be welcome here. They should all be kicked out of our country forever. How many of you are going to bother us? Just move on. So no, John, we won't move on. And how many of us are going to bother you? Many of us. Want to know why? Because this isn't Germany 1940. And we are no longer weak. We no longer have to take this anti-Semitic abuse. So you will be held accountable. I hope the internet makes you pay for your disgusting words. The website is paradisetourspr.com. Guys, if you would be so kind, and I see that there's about 270 of you watching live right now, if you would be so kind as to go to paradisetourspr.com and leave a nice comment about how happy you are that they don't support genocide and that supporting their company is a good idea, that you probably would want to do business with people that actually have a human heart and soul. I know that's how I feel. That's how I see it. And that's the problem with these Zios. They just don't understand that the tide is turning, and it's turning for good. It's not just going to magically disappear. There isn't going to come this moment where there's going to be this aha realization. Oh, we were wrong about Israel. You know, we really should have been nicer to them. We should have given them a better benefit of the doubt, that we should have, you know, had that, given that consideration that they are actually decent people. No, not at all. This is how you get it done. Make it so that they have nowhere to go. Unfortunately, we know where they're going to go. They're all going to go to South Florida, but Jen will probably be out of there by the time that they all move down there. But that's what's happening. Little Israel is becoming Southeast Florida is becoming Little Israel. That's what it's becoming. Unfortunately. I've seen the change. They can have their little restaurants again. There's only so much we could do, but hey, if they're going to go anywhere, just go to a place where we know we just need to avoid it altogether, and that's it. There's plenty of other places besides South Florida to go to that are actually worth going to, that isn't as overcrowded, doesn't have as many problems. This is what we have to do. Calling people out is necessary. That's what, I mean, like I said, it isn't going to be easy, but we want to make it clear that the only way this is going to change is if we get direct and forceful with our approach. They don't like this. They're complaining because a person said, "Free Palestine, we're not serving you." Could you imagine what's going to happen when thousands of places are going to do the same thing? That ideology is going to die, and here's an example why. Colin? Just let me know if the audio is ready. Good?
Invitado, gracias. Fuera de aquí. Matas Palestina, vais a comer en Gaza. En Gaza hay cerveza buena. Nada. Fuera. Hijos de puta, matan gente, vienen a hacer vacaciones. Fuera de aquí. ¿Qué justo zapato? ¡Viva no! ¡Viva Palestina! ¡Libre! ¡Viva Palestina! ¡Libre! 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 ¡La beca de Nasrallah! ¡La beca de Nasrallah! ¡Fuera! ¡Fuera! ¡Fuera de aquí! Llévalo, llévalo. Pago yo. Pago por ti. Nosotros pagamos por vosotros. Por vivir en nuestra tierra. ¡Fuera de aquí! Israelí.
No.
Sionista, fuera de aquí. Joder. La que servía a vosotros, hijos de puta. Perdón, señor.
So what he was saying in Spanish was, we don't serve Zionist putas like you here in this place. Good for him. And good for any other establishment who does the right thing. That's how you have to treat them. Zero tolerance. They have zero tolerance for the lives of the Palestinian people. We have zero tolerance for them, their business, or anything. Ever again. That's the way it should be. Period. Now, the Epstein story is going to continue. And it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds when it's all said and done. But I do want to point out the fact that clandestine operations happen all the time. And honeypot clandestine operations happen a lot. So leave it to our good friend, James Lee, from Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar, who also has his own channel, James Lee 5149, doing an excellent job here, pointing out why Kash Patel is definitely not on the level. And here's a good reason.
Director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation. All right, here's the context. Quote, some social media users have wondered whether the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI Director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact that Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, works for PragerU.
So if anybody knows anything about PragerU and Dennis Prager, that he sucks. Let's just leave it at that. There's a lot of things I could say about Dennis Prager. Point is, PragerU is funded by the worst of the worst corporate filth, including Israel, that there is. As bad as it gets. And if you haven't heard him, if you haven't heard Dennis Prager rant about Israel, trust me. As Noah Linden says, sociopath is definitely one way of describing it. But anybody who is working for PragerU, especially today, oh boy, it's as big a red flag. But trust me, it's pretty fucked up.
Which is a media company that supposedly espouses American values, except for the fact that it is run by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. Now, I did a bunch of digging, and unfortunately, there's actually not a lot of public information to go off of in terms of Alexis Wilkins' background. Now, what I was able to find is that her father worked for Gillette and that her mother was in aerospace and pharmaceuticals. It also says that they lived in England and Switzerland before settling in Fayetteville, Arkansas when she was 9. It also says that she attended College du Le Monde International School in Switzerland. Now, interestingly, ChatGPT is calling this a strange biographical gap in that she has no visible friend network or public high school college cohort interviews, which they say is unusual for a public figure in entertainment, and that if a Mossad asset were inserted early in life, these gaps would be precisely where you would hide alternate history or handler training. Dr. Simon Goddick says that Alexis Wilkins is nearly 20 years younger than Kash and also works for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence, that's PragerU that he's referring to. And he says, seriously, why would an attractive young woman date a not so attractive Indian American? Classic honeypot.
Look, I'm not going to get into the merits of whether or not you think that the girl in question is attractive or whether you think Kash Patel is unattractive. The one thing I can say with absolute certainty is that do I think that there is major infiltration by the Israel lobby through honeypot initiatives on the most susceptible type of politicos? Absolutely. And it isn't just Israel. I mean, this happens all the time. Men are very susceptible to this type of behavior, unfortunately. Now, imagine you're somebody like Kash Patel. Well, I'm not going to say he's an ugly guy, but when a woman that looks like her, that's in her mid-20s and you're in your mid-40s, and she's all over you, hey, you're a single guy, naturally you're probably going to dig that type of behavior. But then you ask yourself, well, what's the motivation? Could it just be true love? Hey, I'm not one to judge, but when you look under the hood of the car, things don't add up. What's she up to? What's her goal? Maybe the goal is to protect Israel's clandestine operations by making sure that the information about who's on the Epstein list never comes out. That could just be one of many reasons. But you never know. All I can tell you is that Epstein list This is what I love about the political right, especially the populist libertarian right. They are never going to let up on this. You see, unlike the political left, who typically just gives up when they don't get what they want, fighting for single-payer healthcare, for example, they'll fight, but not the way that they really need to. The banding together and in the face of Trump, of their dear leader, as so many stuffy liberals like to claim that there isn't an independent thinker in the MAGA movement, and yet this could sink a substantial portion of MAGA altogether. It's just obvious. As we said, the whole concept of Israel, that's never getting put back in the box ever again. It's just a question of when the American people collectively say, we've had enough. And this is just another example of how we get closer to just that.
I mean, I don't know. Who are we to really judge what people are attracted to and not attracted to? Anyway, I'm not sure what's true or what's not true, but evidently these are, quote, classic elements used in honeypot operations: soft power, ideological alignment, and sexual emotional entanglement. Let me know what you think.
I think anything's possible. That's what I think. We're never going to forget Fang Fang. I think also part of the unraveling of the Israel-US relationship stems from the fact that so many of the kind of shadow behaviors that had been able to be successful for so very long are no longer working for them. And they're never going to work again. So at some point, you just have to ask yourself, are they grasping at straws? Maybe. But the denouncement of the state of Israel cannot come fast enough. And if there is an economic, political, and social price to pay, that's when the change will really happen fast. Right now, we're not sure what that change is going to look like, but we're working on it, and we're getting closer. So let's keep fighting. Make sure you go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. I will give you guys a quick update right now. As of this moment, we are sitting at 46,226 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe if you are new here. Make sure that you hit that like button so this will be seen by more people once it drops. Also, make sure that you share the stream. Any and all support makes a tremendous difference in our ability to grow. And that's why we are forever grateful that each and every one of you are here to see us have this sustained growth. I was looking at a clip the other day that wasn't even a year old. I did a clip on Henry Kissinger's death. It got 120 views. So it's really amazing how far we've come. And it's with incredible gratitude that I thank you all for being here, as always, and continuing to support our channel. It really means the world. And so since we last brought it up, we have received additional support. Sal Duarte, it's been a little while. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for the $5. What are your thoughts on Stu Patterson? Great show. I got to be honest, I don't know who Stu Patterson is. Somebody fill me in. Tell me, what am I missing here on a Stu Peterson? Excuse me, not Patterson. Or is it Patterson? Let me know. I'm certainly happy to share my thoughts. And if there's something important pertaining to that, I'm obviously happy to share as well. So any feedback regarding Stu Patterson obviously would be tremendously appreciated. Ozma, always a pleasure. You're one of our most amazing supporters, and we always thank you. Incredibly generous support, as always. After Trump's first election, I got involved to support the Democratic Party. I did what I could to get Biden elected. After Gaza, though, they made it painfully clear how little we Muslims mean to them. Great, great job, Peter. Thank you so much for the 1999. You mean a lot to us. You're a great people. And of course, most of the negative opinions about Muslims are derived from people that have never met one, have never spent time with one, have never been in a mosque, much less an iftar, among other things. Fear of the unknown is what always drives the ignorance and the arrogance of the average person who denigrates others for whatever their reasoning may be. And in the case of the Israel lobby, they do it for their political, economic, and social cause at the expense of denigrating the Muslim people. And that's not even including the genocide in Gaza. That's a whole separate issue. Willie, thank you as always for the $5. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on YouTube. I just woke up. Zionism needs to go bye-bye. Hey, I could not agree more. Zionism, hopefully, is on its way out. It may take longer than we expect or would wish that it would take, but that's the way it's going to be. One more time, patreon.com/revolutionary change. $5 minimum. Any and all support will be tremendously appreciated. For Monday, we are going to have a wonderful new guest, Samantha Youssef, who has been following us for a while. She's a Palestinian artist whose work has now been featured in Gaza. And we are going to bring her on, and I believe she will probably discuss not only her work, but maybe we'll get to see some of it. Next Thursday, we will have Wally Rashid. As you guys know, he's got a tremendous platform on social media, particularly Instagram. We're going to talk with him. We've got lots of other wonderful guests that are going to be coming on. And you guys know that one of the great things about crossing this threshold into a bigger channel now, it allows us to not feel the pressure to always have to get guests. It seems that you guys actually like what we have to say, which is very refreshing. We're obviously very appreciative of any and all support that you do provide. Colin, if I'm going to do one more, this American education, you just give me because I think this is a little bit older. I'll cover it, but I just want to, if you can clarify what that one's about.
Yeah, that was, give me one sec to pull, because I don't want to get it quite wrong either. Here it is. So this was a video by Heresy Financial about the truth of why they don't teach money in school and finances. And so this is sort of the beginning about the U.S. system and why it's intentionally designed that way.
I'm wondering if it might make sense to hold it for Monday. I don't know if Jen is still here. I would ask her if that's one that she would want me to hold. I'm taking a look right now to see if I can. We're at 140, 143. Let me see. How far back does this one go? This has to be from like a little. This had to have been from like a week or two ago.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Tuesday. Okay. I guess I forwarded it. It must have come through from Instagram. The truth about why we don't teach money in public schools. I actually think that that's probably a topic to talk about with Jen. So let's save it for Monday. Hold that one. I think we've got just about everything. Well, there may be something that we have to cover now. I sure hope not, but
internment camp, which it is.
All right, pull up the clip that I just sent to you. We've got one more for you guys. This fuck. Debbie Wasserman Schultz refuses to go away.
Conditions that we saw inside this internment camp, which it is nothing.
Oh, good old Jared Mouskowitz standing right over Debbie's shoulder. Man, they really do like to stick together, don't they?
Less than that description were really appalling. They are using cages. These detainees are living in cages.
You have been attempting to put a private prison in South Florida for a very long time, but because this is a Trump initiative, that it's got to be bad. Yes, I have no doubt that the conditions in Alligator, Alcatraz are horrific and terrible, and you are not going to do a damn thing to solve this problem. You are merely doing this for political opportunism, nothing more, nothing less. You are not helping the Democratic Party. You are killing it. So please keep talking. That's all you know how to do. Find the camera, get in front of it, and wax poetic while you take $1 million from AIPAC and you want to talk about kids in cages. You want to talk about the shit that you are perpetuating against the Palestinian people, among other people in this country? You don't give a fuck about the people that are stuck in Alligator, Alcatraz. You're trying to use this for political cannon fodder with whatever shit you have left in your pathetic career. And all the while, if you look on your stupid social media accounts, who is out there touting her? Well, let's see. Midas Touch is talking about her because of course they would. Aaron Rupar, the biggest suck-off in the entire Democratic Party media conglomerate, is posting about it. Brian Allen. Who's Brian Allen? Oh, just another wannabe media guru. They never say a damn thing about the person that they have speaking on behalf of this. That's always the biggest problem here. And why no one fucking cares. Why isn't Anna Eskamani the one speaking on this issue? Why isn't State Senator Chevron Jones speaking on this issue? This isn't even in Debbie's district. Why do they put her on here? Do you not want things to get better for the people in Alligator, Alcatraz? No one fucking cares what this pathetic Zion Nazi scumbag Netanyahu acolyte has to say. Nobody. Except the Democratic Party sycophants. This fuck has been in Congress for 20 years. The Democratic Party is going to get destroyed next year again in the state of Florida. And this person is one of the biggest reasons why they are a dead walking party in Florida, among most places all over the country. But let's hear what else this varmint has to say.
The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans,
Yep.
32 detainees per cage.
Yeah, people have said that already.
The only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds And there are 3 tiny toilets that are toilet units that have a sink attached to it. They get their drinking water and they brush their teeth, where they poop in the same unit. The portions available for employees, large pieces of roast chicken, large sausages, and the detainees' lunches were a small, gray turkey and cheese sandwich, an apple, and chips. And that's it. I don't.
What do you think you're going to accomplish? What are you hoping to accomplish? You're going to turn more people off. Chevron, I see you standing behind her. Why are you not talking instead? But this has always been the problem with this piece of shit. She craves that spotlight. She cannot not find a way to get her way in front of a camera. She talks about things and that she cares about people. She is a bloodthirsty sociopath who is using this sadistic situation for political cannon fodder. She doesn't give a fuck about the people in those cages. Because as I've said before, if Biden or Harris were in charge, and we all know that the kids in cages were alive and well when they were president, and she said nothing, like a good little Democratic Party foot soldier would do. She's beyond pathetic. I can laugh at her. I can make fun of her. But this is what gets me pissed off. She is not doing this because she's noble. She's doing it because she's opportunistic. She wasn't there when this first happened. Chevron and Anna Eskamani were. Debbie wasn't hanging out outside trying to get in with Angie Nixon, who came down from Jacksonville. No, she does this because she thinks it'll make her look good. And we know she's a hypocrite. She acts like she cares, and all the while, she does everything in her capacity to hurt this country, to hurt the Palestinian people. She has supported endless war every single minute she has been in Congress. She supported Ukraine full throat. She supported Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Yemen, bombing Iran, and committing a genocide on the Palestinian people. Fuck her and anybody who supports her. And fuck the Democratic Party for boosting her and telling her to get in front of the camera. Let's use you. No. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the political equivalent of birth control. You want to make sure nobody joins the Democratic Party ever again? Just show them her. They'll never take the blue pill ever again. At least I hope not. wears that fucking jacket like she's some kind of important person. Keep in mind how hot it is out there. You see, even Chevron, who's over her right shoulder, he's not even pretending. Again, terrible what's happening at Alligator Alcatraz. Why in the fuck are you having this person speak on behalf of what's going on?
I don't see how a grown man, a large grown man at that, and there are many large grown men in this facility, I don't see how that could possibly sustain them nutritionally or not make them hungry. I brought a thermostat in with me, a manual thermostat. In the medical intake area, it was 85 degrees. This is inside the so-called air-conditioned tent. We could not meet with any detainees. They gave us no specific reason or authority why we couldn't. They refused us access and wouldn't even let us go into the dormitory where they were being encaged. So this is an appalling, outrageous environment to detain anyone. They say that there are only people who are in the final stages of deportation here. We have doubts about that. We've heard that there are detainees here who are not criminals.
Have you ever seen the conditions of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba? Have you seen the conditions of what's going on that the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians? Have you seen the conditions in places like San Quentin? How about the conditions for the civilians or the so-called criminals that are in places like Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala? Again, you're only doing this because you think it's somehow going to benefit you politically. And as I said before, Alligator Alcatraz has been going on for a couple of weeks now. She holds this press conference now. You know, I heard them complaining about Kristi Noem because she apparently waited a few days to call in the National Guard, which was after the tragedy in Hill Country in Texas. Again, the press conferences is incredible. How there isn't one fucking person in leadership in the Democratic Party that doesn't say, shut the fuck up already and get out of politics. This is why the Democratic Party cannot be saved, should not be saved, do not resuscitate. Fuck Debbie Wasserman Schultz and any last one of you fucking morons that still support her. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. Thank you for getting me heated right at the end of the evening, but hey, wouldn't have it any other way. I'll accept it, Paul, but even that terminology is being rewritten all the time. We appreciate you all being here. But just understand that the future we seek, it's not going to happen inside the Democratic Party. There may be leaders that are a part of the Democratic Party that may help. Zoran Mamdani is the person that comes to mind in this moment. Perhaps Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan. Perhaps Butch Ware in the Green Party in California. Perhaps Shama Sawant is an independent in Washington. Some of them are out there, and they are worth supporting. But make no mistake, so long as people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz lead in the Democratic Party, you are wasting your time, you are wasting your energy, you're wasting your money, and you're wasting your soul. So don't do it. Share, like, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. Love you all. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you Monday, and free Palestine. Good night, guys.